Among the various franchises in the gaming industry, active, inactive, hated, never was, Mafia always stands out in the strangest of ways. The first game developed by Illusion Softworks arrived in a post-Grand Theft Auto 3 era, and delivered an incredible narrative without trying to jump on the open-world bandwagon. And yet, the sequel took a whopping 8 years to launch. Reviews weren't nearly as positive, but for those who waited a long time for a follow-up, and some clarity on that scene from the end, it was enough. Enter Mafia 3, this time launching 6 years after the second. A new era, a new city, a new story that existed well enough on its own, with a few nice callbacks. The franchise seemed poised for a proper revival, and yet despite the compelling narrative and gorgeous visuals, it was marred by repetitive mission design, tacked-on open world, and extensive performance issues. The fact that it went on to sell more than 7 million copies by March of 2020 is noteworthy because, for the longest time, another follow-up seemed impossible. Nine years later, Mafia: The Old Country is officially here on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. The turnaround from its announcement in August of 2024 to launching less than a year is impressive, even if Hangar 13 actually confirmed the game was in development as far back as 2022. But the best part is that it's pretty good. The Old Country is a triumph in that regard because it delivers so well on the series' premise, an action-adventure title that captures the life of a mafioso, which previous entries have done as well in their own ways, so what makes this one so special? Well, to start with, it's a prequel set in 1900s Sicily. Not only is it iconic in the real world, with a rich history of real-world mafia families and conflicts, but the location in question, San Celeste, carries great significance to the series. It's where Tommy Angelo was born, where an incident caused the ruination of his father and ultimately shifted his entire family to America. It's also where Vito Scaletta fought in Mafia 2, where he witnessed Don Carlo effectively saving the lives of him and his men. So many characters' lives are intertwined with San Celeste, and we finally get the chance to explore its streets and the surrounding countryside.
Oh, fermo. Is this what was stolen, signore?
That's all of it, grazie. Grazie mille.
Don Torrisi honors his commitments.
And the Don has my gratitude, of course.
I'm glad we could make things right. That will be 100 lira.
What?
For this? Oof. At least. So 100. I'd say that's a good deal.
It would all be for naught if the actual story and characters weren't worth it. However, after all the criticism against the previous game, Hangar 13 actually went back to the franchise's roots by delivering a linear narrative with a focus on characters. Their personalities and emotions, the inner turmoil that drives them and ultimately creates conflict, and how the darkness within contrasts with the gorgeous locales. Enzo Favara is a capable protagonist in all of this, someone who went from suffering in the mines as an indentured laborer to entering the world of crime as part of the Teresi family. While it's a strong opportunity to make something of himself and climb the rungs as part of something bigger, it's also an obligation. Without Teresi, Enzo would be nowhere, which he's reminded of on more than one occasion. It also helps that the Don is charismatic and respectable enough, at least on the outside, to command that kind of commitment. The rest of the cast is equally as compelling, including Luca, an underboss and mentor, and Caesar, Teresi's nephew, who struggles to earn respect while building a friendship with Enzo. As events take a turn in San Celeste, their stories become all the more compelling. Good writing in video games gets you invested in the characters and the world, but great writing rewards you for doing so. Suffice it to say that The Old Country fulfills the latter, making us wish for the best for its cast, even if happy endings are, pretty much non-existent in the franchise. With the history surrounding the town and such well-crafted characters, it's seemingly a dream come true for longtime fans, especially those who yearned for something more akin to the first two games. However, creating a prequel set before the main trilogy is brilliant because it serves as a great jumping-on point for newcomers. It's effectively the start, and while those with existing knowledge will doubtless get the most out of it, you can enjoy the old country on its own as its own story. The fact that the price is only $49.99 further lowers the barrier to entry. Of course, the gameplay is also important, and while it may not necessarily break from action-adventure conventions, Hangar 13 has added quite a bit. The setting lends to firearms like revolvers, shotguns, and rifles taking precedence over automatics, but ammo is still scarce. Knives are a key part of the combat and culture, which facilitates new duels where ducking and weaving through an enemy's attacks is the key to victory. Best of all, they're woven in naturally with the story, avoiding what I like to call Batmobile syndrome. If you know, you know. Even beyond that, the old country adds a surprising amount of depth to its knives, with different types that lean into specific playstyles, perks, and so on. Their potency means giving some real thought to stealth, but durability means thinking carefully about which ones to lean on and for what purposes. When things get out of control and lead starts flying, the gunplay sticks to the tried and true cover-based shooting that you've seen many times over, but it's still well executed. That being said, this isn't an experience for everyone. The story isn't dozens of hours long, and as noted in our review, it could have used a bit more time on the finale. Despite the gorgeous world and explore mode for basking in all of the gorgeous monuments and city streets, there isn't tons of content to unpack. There's also the matter of performance, which is always a quandary for Unreal Engine 5 titles. It all comes down to optimization, and most developers working with the engine have been flailing in that regard for the better part of this year. Still, saying this isn't an experience for everyone could also be viewed as a strength. Mafia: The Old Country makes no bones about what it's trying to accomplish, and it excels in many of those aspects. It's an enjoyable narrative, but also a strong starting point for those who want to get into the franchise. In the same vein, it reminds us why we fell in love with the original, while expanding on its gameplay in new, exciting ways. So, will it edge out the Game of the Year contenders like Clair Obscur Expedition, Blue Prince, Death Stranding 2, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Most likely not, but it stands among them when it comes to consistent, well-executed visions. In this era, where many companies have wisened up to the perils of live service and trend chasing, and where bigger is still viewed as better, especially when it comes to the amount of money allocated to the budget, it's nice to be reminded of the virtues of a more focused title. An experience that's one and done, providing your money's worth, and delivering an enjoyable experience while it lasted. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.